Nas and Hit-Boy have been on quite the run since the release of King's Disease in August 2020, and then with the release of King's Disease 2 this year, 2021, and most recently with the release of Magic, which dropped today, Christmas Eve 2021. To release 3 full-length projects in, 16, 17 months is impressive to say the least, especially given how long Nas has been in the game. Now, we're just now getting to the point in hip-hop where we're starting to see these OGs or these older rappers from the 90s really grow older. And that's great. I mean, Nas is 48. Jay-Z is 50. They're both still making pretty dope music. I would, and at this point, probably argue that Nas is doing a little bit better given his last 3 tapes. But I mean, it's crazy. We have just gotten to this point where we can see how rappers age. Now, Nas throughout his career has always been, I guess, criticized for a variety of things, primarily his beat selection. And I think since he started teaming up with Hit-Boy, that argument is thrown entirely out the window. Because I've said it before, but every time I feel an artist works with a producer for the entirety of a project, we get something great. And King's Disease 2, and Magic are no exception. Like, these have all been great projects. And the only reason I'm talking about it right now is because I listened to one track off of Magic when it dropped last night, and I was, speechless. I mean, that's literally the first track. But Nas still is finding ways to not like reimagine himself, but stay relevant, I guess. He's not necessarily trying these new things that other artists may try and kind of fail at, but he's kind of just doing his own thing. Like, you know how, so there's plenty of artists who've been in the game for a while and they try to go more of what's trendy or popular. One example I can think of is like, you know how Usher was hating on T-Pain for using autotune, and he's like, "Oh, you killed real music" or something like that. And then he turns around and uses autotune to the same extent, similarly to how T-Pain used it, but didn't do it as well. Like, you have these artists who've been around for so long, and they're like, "Damn, how do I stay relevant?" Well, maybe you stay genuine. Maybe just stick to what you're good at. And that's exactly what Nas has been doing. I mean, I will admit, like, with Nas, I've always compared every one of his projects to Illmatic, and, just, followed the meme. Like, oh, Nas doesn't have good beat selection. So, back when, Nasir dropped in 2018, I had pretty high hopes. Because prior to that, he dropped Life is Good and just kind of, chilled out for a bit. And when Nasir came out, that was during Kanye's, Surgical Summer? So everything was a Kanye-produced project, about 7 tracks long for each one, and none of them, except for Daytona, dropped on time. But besides that, when you hear of a collab like this, Nas and Kanye, you think it's going to be something amazing. And I was pretty underwhelmed, but that was probably because my expectations were way too high. However, that has clearly changed now that he's working with Hit-Boy. Hit-Boy, I mean, you kind of forget how much he's done. But he's not someone that I would have expected Nas to work with, but I'm glad he did. And I'm glad that they're continuing this. They have another project, or King's Disease 3, coming next year. I think he even said it in one of the tracks. He's like, this is just to hold him over. Like, I forget the exact line, but something along those lines. Like, it's crazy. Like, when you have that sort of chemistry, you don't want to let it go. Which kind of goes into the next thing I was thinking about regarding Nas and Hit-Boy. And that's, are we gonna get tired of it at any point? Is it gonna get to the point where, like, I've heard too much? Maybe. I mean, I'm trying to think of another time that that's happened, but that's very rare, I feel. Oftentimes when a artist and producer work together and do multiple projects, they keep doing it. And eventually they're the ones that decide to stop. And it's less of the fans saying, nah, y'all doing too much now. So I'm not concerned. I'm just more, I'm interested to see where that goes. Because, like I said, what happens after that? What I would like to happen after that is to see Nas work with other producers for similar projects. And I think I even mentioned this on my King's Disease review when I put that out last year. Like, I love that he did this whole project with Hit-Boy, but who else could he work with that he would sound good on? Like, I'm genuinely curious. Like, would he sound good with someone like Madlib? That'd be wild. Or should he just go like the complete opposite direction and work with like Metro Boomin? Like, like, is it just that Hit-Boy and Nas have that chemistry and Hit-Boy knows what Nas sounds good on, and that's why they work well together? Like, I probably could read up on it. I'm sure they've done some sort of talk regarding it, but you know, it's interesting to think about. Like, who would he work with next? Regarding these projects, though, I'm glad that Nas is finally getting his flowers. Like, because, you know, like I said, everyone was kind of being negative about Nas. They're all like, oh no, his beats are whack. Or his albums, like, yeah, this album's cool, but it's not Illmatic. And then when he dropped Hip Hop Is Dead, everyone's like, alright, okay, Nas saying hip hop is dead. Everyone has had something to say about Nas that's negative, but I'm glad that he's at the point in his career where, one, he's getting to older age. Like, he's nearly 50. It's great to see, especially given all the rappers who have recently passed away for one reason or another. Yeah. Like, I'm glad to see that he's getting to this age. But, you know, the recognition is great. He won a Grammy last year for Rap Album of the Year. Like, that's crazy. Like, Nas has been around for so long and he just got a Grammy. Insane. And, you know, the thing is, all of his projects have been good. So it's not like he hasn't deserved it. But yeah, I mean, he'll probably get another Grammy with King's Disease 2. I don't think Magic is going to get any sort of acclaim like that. But I love it. I mean, I've only listened to it about 2.5 times, 3 times, but it's been really solid. It's very interesting to me, though, kind of on the topic of Magic and King's Disease, that with the Magic at least, Nas had one feature and it was from Rocky, or A$AP Rocky, and with scratches from Primo. And the Primo feature is not bad. I mean, or not unexpected is what I meant to say. But the Rocky one, it surprises me still. Like, Nas has always been the type of person to work with the newer generation of artists, and I mean, Hit-Boy included. But it's always a surprise when I see him or see a feature list. I'm like, A$AP Rocky, what? And by the way, Rocky sounded smooth on that. I need a new Rocky project. But even on King's Disease 2, he had, or no, was it King's Disease 2 or? Oh yeah, well, King's Disease 2, he had A Boogie, he had YG. On King's Disease 1, he had Ferg. Like, he's no stranger, and he's not afraid to reach out to these younger artists, even though they're not like super young. Like, they're still kind of within his reach. It's just wild, like, that he's able to do that and it doesn't sound bad. I think that kind of goes into the idea of the artist and producer really knowing what other artists would sound like on particular beats, or when they have a beat and they're like, oh, you know who would sound good on this? So and so. Like, that's again a very rare thing to do. And I don't know for sure, I would assume so though, that Nas got a lot of these people in the studio with him for these songs, or at least he sent his verse out when he asked for the features, because they all fit the song well. It's very rare that it's like, oh no, this is whack. Like, what's he even talking about? What's this feature for? Like, no, they all sound good. You know, what'd be wild though is if he just needs to get Jay-Z on an album so everyone can stop with the jokes about Jay-Z hating on Nas. But nah, it's crazy how well Hit-Boy and Nas work together. They got the magic. They got some sort of magic there. It's great. And I don't know, man. Like, I'm happy that this is still happening. And like anytime I do these, like the breakdowns or reviews or Grammy talks about Nas, everyone gets upset. But I'm just being real. Like, I love Nas, but I'm also just trying to voice my opinions too. But I think that's all I had to say about Nas recently. Like, he's a GOAT for sure. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about these Hit-Boy collabs, because I'm a huge fan right now. And if you haven't listened to Magic, make sure you do so. It's so good and well worth the listen. While you're there commenting, like and subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as I can. It was the goal for 2021, but shit happens. But with all that said, please stay safe out there.